What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 26. Yeah, I know it was supposed to be live, but I caught the bug again. So this is going to be my mat for the next few days. Training in the pool, solo drills, but the show must go on. So here we are for episode 26. What I'm going to do is talk about a strategy for I got a question regarding best submissions strategies for a short, stocky guy. So I'm going to talk about the strategies, and then I'm going to transition this to Mike, and hopefully he'll pick up some good examples of this. So one of the important things when you're a shorter, stockier body type, the best thing is to focus on joint locks. So if you look at it from the bottom, if your opponent is in your guard, the thing I believe to do is to focus on either leg entries, meaning butterfly guard and false reaps are good entries into the legs. Coming into single leg X, you knock your training partner down. Again, you can make adjustments to your legs. You have some leg lock entries here for heel hook. If you just want to stay with simple ankle lock, I'm a big fan of just the simple grip, get it elbow deep, because I find it much harder for me to, if I go, there's another version of this where you kind of grab shallow, almost like a guillotine, and you tuck the foot in. I found for my style of game, if the guy starts to spin, my hand starts to drift. Whereas if I go elbow deep, switch my legs, and then you can finish here. But if he spins, most importantly, it's going to be difficult, slow, and allows me to keep him away from me. So you have some entries into ankle locks or leg locks, obviously. And most important one is if you knock them down. So when I'm sweeping with single leg X or Ashi, I like to go, can you get up for a second? So when I'm here, I try to reach with the inside hand. What it does is it does two things. It gives you a little bit of a torque in that direction. Also, if the foot slips, I can just lift, and it's an easy way for me to get on top, actually complete the sweep. The other thing is to focus on arms and possibly kimuras, arm bars and possibly kimuras from your guard.
Get your grips and go. Guys, I don't care if it's a collar grip. I don't care if it's a foot grip. I don't care if it's sleeve grip. You have to get something going. Guys, as soon as I break his posture, I'm going to move. Now I'm putting him on the run. Tap. What are we doing here? You going to roll or no? So, guys, notice that as soon as you get your grips, the guy can't move at will anymore. Because it could be as simple just putting my foot. So if I have seated guard, if I put my foot on his knee, if he starts to move, you can always just push and start to attack. All right? But you have to get your grips. But second, you have to get your grips and go. Again, if I get a really good, I'll get 3 really good grips. Guys, this is really solid grips. But if I just sit here with my grips, so that didn't help my point. But the point is, I had 3 really good grips. He didn't strip them, right? But guys, and again, I'm going to try to make 2 points. You get your grips and use them. Get your grips and go. But you could also see that sometimes if I use their grips against them, he basically just neutralized my grips by moving around them. You don't necessarily have to strip the opponent's grips. You can use them against against them. So there's 2 points. Get your grips and use them. Get your grips and go. Okay? So again, so this time I have just 2 grips, but I use them. I'm going to use this grip. So I know, guys, you know, once you start thinking about it, it's almost, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But again, I want to know how many of you have done this before, and then you sit there afterwards and shaking your heads like, what did I do wrong? Why is my technique not work on this white belt? Why is my technique not work on this blue belt? Why is my technique not work on this purple belt? It's not a technical problem. It's problem of engagement. Sometimes we start to think that, yes, there's a significant skill gap, and therefore I don't have to do anything. If you take it to an extreme, if you don't do anything, the guy will be on your back choking you in 30 seconds, even though if he's been training jiu-jitsu for 3 months. So again, wrap, go to the wrist, switch hips, hip out if you can, and now what I want to try to do is bring his elbow in. Oh man, you should have stretched. So what I want to do, guys, is bring his elbow to me and drive. Tap his hand. So anytime I hip heist, guys, don't try to set up the submission, because sometimes when you aiming for the submission too much, you don't hip heist enough. If you hip heist enough, he has to put effort in bringing you back down. When he's putting in effort, and you're also pretty high up, hopefully you want to go all the way, to vertical to the floor. It's going to take him longer to drive you back down than if you pop up 45 degrees. Is this 45 degrees? Anyways, so if you pop up as if you're trying to sweep him, and that's always my aim. I'm aiming to sweep you. You mount it. Great. But if he takes it away from you, if you do it well and you go fully vertical, okay, 90 degrees. Now you have time to implement one of those 3 follow-ups, whether it's the guillotine to anaconda, whether it's the triangle, or whether it's the kimura. Okay? But you have to attempt to sweep him. Don't just kind of do one of these and looking for a guillotine. Is guillotine going to happen here? Absolutely not. So anytime, I don't care which one you choose, all right? I'm aiming to bump them over. This is what I'm aiming to do. All right?
You can use triangles, especially sort of the Husky Man triangle or a teepee, or I like to call it diamond. As long as you have good form of control, meaning that you cross your ankles, you put your knees to your chest, and squeeze your knees together. It's a very strong form of control because triangles or diamonds have very strong control over the opponent, and you can use that to go into simultaneous submissions which involve the arms. Again, kimuras, Americanas, and arm bars.
Make sure that when you attack a triangle, you break their posture first. Okay? Now, I'm going to pretend I have short legs. So once I attack and I'm like, oh crap, I shouldn't have gone for this, my legs are too short. When this happens, guys, understand that triangle has dual role. One is to be as a submission, and the second one is as a form of control. And it is a very, very strong form of control. So if I can cross my legs, all right, now I have to make sure his posture is broken. Because if we can posture up, it will start to unravel. Okay, so I keep his posture broken, and I can actually close mine. I would probably opt for a reverse because Enrique is not giving me the good angle. But let's assume I have short legs. So guys, a couple of things you have to do in this situation. One is drive your knees to your chest. That's what helps keep his posture broken, okay? And second one is keep your thighs close together. So we don't have a triangle. We have a diamond, also known as a husky man's triangle, okay? So this is a diamond. So my ankles are crossed, but they're not like hanging out softly crossed. So in a weird way, I'm kind of crossing my ankles, which almost by nature flares out my knees. But as long as I keep bringing them to my chest and keep my thighs close together, it's very difficult for him to escape. Now, I may not be able to finish him, but you can. If you get caught here, the first course of action I would do is raise your heels. Try to sit up as much as you can. Get the best grip possible. If you can get 10 finger, you can get butterfly, but usually 10 fingers is good enough, or even sort of like a guillotine grip. All right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch out my feet to the ceiling. And you get a very strong choke, okay? It is not quite as strong as a normal triangle, but it works very well, okay? So again, once you decide to commit to a triangle, make sure that you first control his posture. His posture has to be broken and has to remain broken. So, knees to the chest, thighs together, and then you can think about the submission, whether you reverse the triangle, whether you go with a straight triangle, whether you attack the arm that's in between your legs. There's some follow-up moves on a triangle that kind of fails, but let's look at again the diamond. Okay, so I hit a triangle, or so I thought, on Enrique. All right, now I realize my legs are too short. So I'm going to cross my ankles and really cross them well. All right, I'm going to drive my knees to my chest. Okay, and I'm pushing my thighs close together. Now I'm going to raise my feet. All right, so don't try to get under your legs here. All right, now again, whatever grip you can do. If you can't touch your hands, sometimes it's just use your arms, but you should be able to get a 10-finger grip. If I can get a guillotine grip, it's even better. And what I'm doing now, as my heels are up, I'm going to drive them to the ceiling. Okay? So this is a good solution for the guys that have shorter legs. Understand that if you have shorter legs, that you're going to have a harder time blocking a proper triangle. But when you do, it's going to be really tight. The other option that you might want to think about is if you close a triangle and it's not quite there because your legs are too short, or maybe your angle is not proper. There's different ways to defend triangle, but one of the most common one is where the guy postures up. Again, people don't posture up off the ground. They tend to posture off your torso. So they're also giving you a very, very quick short arm lock. Let's look at it again. So as I lock up a admittedly crappy triangle, Enrique feels some form of danger, so he starts to posture up. When this happens, this is done. It's a very short arm lock, okay? One more time. It's not good. He's posturing up, and done. Guys, when you do this, make sure you give your training partner plenty of room, because this comes on as he's posturing up. What he's doing is he's extending his own arm. So when you slap this on, it's pretty much instantaneous. Yeah, one more time. Done. All right, guys.
So that's sort of the strategy from the bottom. From the top, it's a very similar strategy. Again, if you're on top, especially if you're focusing on the upper body, I would focus on the arms. Arm bars are good, but Kimuras and Americanas are even better, especially I'm a big fan of modified American from the top. And I think those strategies would work for shorter, stockier guys, and hopefully I'll see you next week live.